Alright, in this video I'm going to show you how to stiffen the spring inside of this fork tube and change the fork oil. So step one that you want to do is you have your fork here, take your polished shaft, put it inside of the vise like so. Don't crank down on it too hard because you don't want to make this round tube an oval. Now you got that, take your 3/8 ratchet, and this is a 10mm. You can use an Allen key, a T-handle wrench. What I have is a 3/8 socket with an Allen key sticking out of it. This is a 10mm. So you put that inside your ratchet, put that in the cap, and then you want to hit it like an impact wrench so it doesn't come off. Just give this a little bit snug tight, don't go too crazy though. And there we go. See, this starts to off. So as soon as you got it loose, don't keep it on the side because oil will start leaking out. So pop this out. I'm going to hold it by my brake caliper mount that I showed you how to make in a different video right here. Okay. And you want to continue with taking, it's a shot. You want to continue taking this cap off. So you can hold it down here as well. We'll thread this off. Now there's a spring under here. As soon as you get a little bit of it off, you want to keep downward pressure on it while you're threading it off. And the spring will pop out just like that. This is all it'll do right here. That's all it'll pop out. You can take the cap, make sure your O-ring isn't torn up at all, because that'll show oil will start leaking out, which this one isn't. This one's still in good condition. Replace that if it's torn up. So now you have your fork tube and there's no cap on it, so you see that the spring is just moving in and out. And you want to take your spring, get a rag because this will be messy. Take the spring out. Okay. Wipe it off because you're going to be changing the oil in it. If not, then save as much of the oil as you can, but you're going to lose some if you're not going to change the oil. Engine oil, I have no idea if that'll work inside of this. I just used the fork oil. I got some Valorey for 16 bucks, 20 weight. It's heavier weight, so that means this won't travel really as fast as the stuff that comes out of this, so it'll help with the travel. I'm going to set the spring over here, let that soak in the rag. So now we have our fork tube completely disassembled, like so. See how much it travels in and out. Now you want to get a container that will hold the oil that you're about to dump out of this. So I always like to pull this all the way out first. I have my container here. Take this, you dump it upside down. And you see all the oil that comes out of it. So now you want to compress it. More oil comes out. You just want to keep compressing in and out. You hear those funky noises? It's good because you're getting all that oil out of there. Now your oil might not be red when it comes out. I've already changed the oil inside of this, and then I found out you can do this trick on stiffening the springs. But I originally used some of this stuff, some 15 weight, and I found out you can put even heavier weight in here and help the shock travel be slower. So we'll just try to get as much as out of here. Okay, you're not going to get all this out of here, and I don't know if spraying brake clean or any type of solvent inside of this will destroy the seals in the lower half. I probably wouldn't. Just get as much out as you can. Take your container, you'll be all done with that. So now, stick it back in your vise. You want to leave where your travel is. Your compressor fork, stick it back in your vise. And then now you can, because you're going to have to travel this in and out after you put the new oil in it. If I leave it down, so now I'm going to take my fork oil measuring cup, This fork holds 3 ounces. Only put 3 ounces in here because you put more oil in, it'll cause the fork to hydro lock, and then it'll blow out your seals and you have a bunch of oil leaking out here. And as soon as that happens, you gotta get a new fork, because I don't know where you can get rebuild kits for these, or if they even have rebuild kits. So 3 ounces. Mine only goes up 2 and 4, so let's go right between 2 and 4. Just like that. That looks like it's good. If you have a measuring cup that goes up to 3, perfect. I don't, so I'm just doing it this way. Now you want to take it and you literally just dump it inside of here. I'll get as much as it in there as possible. Okay. So now if you look inside here after you dump it out, you see some air bubbles, and it's trying to travel down to the lower half of the shock. And we can speed that up by telescoping the fork tube in and out. Just gonna wipe up some fork oil. Now you can pop this out and telescope this in and out. You'll feel the fork oil get into its area down here where the piston is. If you look inside, you don't really see too many more air bubbles come out, then it should be good. So I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this back out, leave it where it is, put this back into the vise. Now I'm going to go back over to where my spring is, right here. And then the more this area where it looks like it's not really as open as this part is, always goes down first. So you take it and you just drop it in there. That's it for installing the spring. So now we're on to the how do you stiffen these forks, because you can't buy new springs that are a harder or softer spring rate. So the trick is you get some washers from Ace Hardware, Menards, wherever you can get washers from. The size does matter. So the outside diameter of these washers in inches, I have a caliper here, are 800 thousandths. You can convert that over to decimals, not decimals, these are decimals, but over to fractional numbers if you have a tape measure. 800 thousandths in millimeters is 20.5 millimeters. So you want that, and these are slightly smaller than the spring, which is perfect, so it won't interfere with anything. You want to take these, drop them onto the spring, however many you want. I'm going to do 4 to start out with. These springs are really soft on my heavy bike. 4 washers just like that. Just take them, stack them on top. And these are grade 8 thick washers from Ace Hardware is where I got these. They're a lot thicker than normal ones, so you don't need a whole lot, but just buy some extras in case you need to put some more in. So I got 4 stacked up. I want to take your cap you took off right here. Get your 10 millimeter. Put this on top of the washers and start pushing everything back together. This is going to be a lot harder than before because you're compressing the spring a lot more. You just want to push it together, have your hand here, have your 2 fingers across the top holding it down, and then this is quite difficult. There we go, the thread's caught there. So if you're a person without as much strength, 2 people would definitely help. If you're able to do this on your own with a vise, that's awesome. Now we just tighten this thing back together until the O-ring seats. Right there, it just stopped, and now the fork is going to start spinning inside the vise. So now I'm going to take the fork out. This rag is all oily, so I'm going to grab a new one. Isn't oily. I'm going to find a part of the rag and wipe down the area we're about to clamp onto. And then you want to take your rag, put it in the vise, put your chrome shaft inside of here. Yet again, don't crank down too far on this. Okay, so now this is in here. You have all this clamping force on it. You want to take this, tighten it back down. You see it'll move a little bit and it'll start spinning like this. What I do is I set it here, I grab a hammer, and I just give it a couple taps, a couple hard taps. You'll see the whole fork assembly move. What's going to happen is it's going to first tighten this and then move everything else with it. I might be thinking, why not just use an impact wrench? Yeah, you can, but this is just a fork tube, so if you are going to use an impact wrench, don't go too crazy tight on it. Maybe just 1 or 2 clicks. Have it controlled. Don't hammer down on it, because these are fine threads and you can easily cause the threads to strip out. And then I don't know if you can buy these caps separately if you were to strip out the threads. So that's what I'm saying. Be careful, but you do what you want. So now after that's done, your fork tube now has heavier weight oil in it, and the spring in it is a hell of a lot stiffer for heavier bikes. Yeah, this is really stiff, so this is nice. And if you need it stiffer, add more washers. You want it less stiffer, take some washers out. It's a tunable system, which is really nice. So yeah, that's your upgraded fork. Hope you enjoyed. Please consider subscribing. Got some more tips and tricks and stuff like this for mini bikes and stuff.